I grew up lonelier than any kid should be. My mother worked nights, and my father wasn't the type who noticed quiet children. Most evenings, I'd sit by the back window, staring into the line of dark woods that pressed against our yard. The trees felt like the only things that listened to me. I remember pressing my forehead to the cold glass, whispering stories to myself just to feel less invisible. Sometimes I imagined the woods whispering back. Other kids had siblings or friends. I had shadows and silence. Quiet was supposed to feel peaceful, but to me, it always felt like a warning, like something was waiting for me to grow up enough to understand it. I didn't know then that the woods weren't just watching. Something inside them was listening, something patient, something that wanted me alone. It started one night when my mother came home late, her eyes red from exhaustion. I was sitting by the window again, staring into the dark tree line. She touched my shoulder, startled I was still awake, and went to bed without a word. The house settled into silence. That's when I heard it. A soft knock, not on the door, but on the glass. The same window I sat beside. A slow, deliberate tap, tap, tap. I froze. My breath hitched. I told myself it was a branch in the wind, but the taps were too steady, too intentional. I didn't want to look, but my eyes dragged toward the glass. Something moved between the trees. Tall, slim, wrong. A silhouette leaning out from behind a trunk, like it was trying to see me better. I whispered, "Hello?" But the woods didn't answer. The tapping stopped. Over the next week, the knocking returned every night. Always soft, always slow, always at the same window. I tried telling my father, but he dismissed it as an animal. My mother didn't listen at all. I started sleeping on the couch just to escape that window, but the knocks followed, moving to whichever glass was nearest my shifting place. It felt like the woods were circling me. One night, I woke to something breathing outside. Heavy, wet, close enough that condensation fogged the glass. When I sat up, the silhouette stepped back into the tree line, melting into the shadows like they belonged to it. I should have told someone again, screamed, begged, but part of me felt chosen. Not in a good way, in a way that said something out there already knew me. It was waiting for me to notice it properly. The night it revealed itself, everything felt colder than usual. Even the air tasted metallic, like fear had a flavor. I was lying in bed, pretending not to hear the tapping, when a voice slid through the screen. Thin, scratchy, too close. "Remember me?" It sounded like someone I knew, a voice almost like my father's, but distorted, stretched, as if forced through broken bones. I jerked upright, heart hammering. "Dad?" The figure stepped from behind the tree, but it wasn't my father. It was taller than any person should be, with limbs that bent just slightly wrong, like branches forced into the shape of a man. Its face looked carved. Familiar features twisted into a wooden mask, smiling too wide. "I've been watching you," it whispered. "You always talk to me. Don't you remember?" And I realized it mimicked voices. I tried to run to my parents' room, but before I reached the hallway, a loud crack split the air, like a tree snapping under weight. The house trembled. The thing was no longer outside. I heard long steps dragging across the porch, then the slow grind of fingernails scraping the siding. "Don't hide," it crooned with my father's voice. "You're better than hiding." I pressed myself into the corner of the hallway, my breath shaking so violently I could taste blood. The scraping moved to the front door. then the back, then every wall at once like it surrounded the entire house. I clamped my hands over my ears, but its voice crawled inside my head anyway. "You invited me," it hissed. "All those nights staring at me, whispering to me." My childhood loneliness suddenly felt like a terrible mistake. The lights flickered violently, buzzing like angry insects. My father shouted from the bedroom, asking what the hell was happening, but the creature answered in his voice before he could reach me. "Stay where you are," it said from the hallway darkness. "I'll take care of it." My father stumbled to a stop, confused, and that's when the thing moved. Fast. Too fast. A blur of black and bone. It slammed into him with a sound I still hear in nightmares. My mother screamed. I ran toward her room, but the thing was already dragging my father toward the back door, his heels scraping the floor. "Help me," he choked out in his real voice. The creature turned its carved face toward me, smiling with stolen features. "Families should stay together," it whispered. "Come to the woods. Come home." My mother and I locked ourselves in her room, but the door splintered with each impact of the thing's limbs. While she pushed a dresser against the handle, she whispered something I never forgot. "It came before," she said, "when you were a baby." My breath caught. "What?" She didn't look at me. "Your father found it in the woods. Said it looked like you. Said it wanted you back." A shattering crack broke through the doorframe. "We made a deal," she sobbed. "We were supposed to keep you away from the woods, away from windows, away from calling to it." Tears blurred my vision. The tapping, the whispers, the presence. I hadn't imagined any of it. The creature didn't choose me out of random darkness. It came because it believed I belonged to it. The woods weren't watching me. My real origin was. The creature's arm tore through the wooden door, its fingers long and sharp like roots pulled from dead earth. It seized the dresser and flung it aside as if it weighed nothing. My mother screamed, pulling me behind her, but the thing didn't look at her. It only stared at me, like a parent finally retrieving a lost child. "You grew," it whispered with my father's broken voice, "but you're still mine." I couldn't breathe. Its eyes, if they were eyes, glowed faintly, like amber sap catching moonlight. I saw flashes in my mind, a cradle of branches, a forest clearing, a figure of wood and bone holding me while my mother cried. "You took me! You're not my family!" The creature tilted its head. "You were planted," it said, "not born." And suddenly everything I thought I knew about my childhood shattered. My mother lunged at the creature with a shard of broken mirror, slicing across its wooden face. Sap-like fluid bled from the wound, hissing as it hit the floor. The creature roared, a deep, resonant vibration that shook the air. It backhanded her across the room. She hit the wall with a sickening sound and went still. I screamed, crawling to her, but before I could reach her, the creature scooped me off the floor with cold, bark-textured arms. "No more hiding," it murmured. I kicked and clawed, but its grip didn't loosen. It carried me toward the broken doorway. "You were meant to return at 13, it said. "Roots take deepest then." Outside, the woods swayed like they were breathing. Every tree leaned toward us. The forest wanted me. It had always wanted me. And now nothing stood between us. It dragged me into the tree line, ignoring my screams, ignoring everything human. The forest swallowed us whole. The deeper we went, the more the ground pulsed beneath my feet, as if veins ran through the soil. In a clearing I had never seen, but somehow remembered, the creature set me down. "This is where you were made," it whispered. The trees bent toward me, their branches curling like fingers. I felt something inside my chest shift, like a seed waking. Pain ripped through me. I collapsed, clawing at my skin as voices rose from the ground, chanting in a language older than anything human. My fingers stiffened, my breath cracked, my skin tightened like bark. I screamed for my mother, for anyone, for life, but the forest only welcomed me home. And now, when the wind is right, you can hear me knocking.